This is chapter 3.1 to 3.10. An Inupiaq word consists of at least a stem word and an ending. The stem carries the meaning of the word, and the ending tells the grammatical information, what the grammatical information is for nouns, verbs, person, and how many. You cannot have a verb stem word by itself. It will be an incomplete sentence. So you will have your verb stem plus an ending, and that will be a complete sentence. Or you could have a verb stem word, a postbase, and an ending. Then that will also be a complete sentence. The verb stem, naku, means to be good or nice, and the verb ending, ruk, indicates that the subject is a statement, that the subject is in third person, and its number is singular. Naku, to be good or nice, the ending ruk, he, she, or it. Put together, it makes nakuruk. It is good or nice. She is good or nice. Also, in Inupiaq, there are noun stems, verb stems, and demonstrative stems. A noun stem is a person, place, or thing. For example, aganak, a woman. A verb stem is an action word. For example, pistoak, to walk. A demonstrative stem tells you where in an area. So, for example, piranya, that one up there, that is visible, but it is not moving. There are simple and complex stems in Inupiaq. An Inupiaq noun or verb may be either simple or complex. A complex stem contains one or more postbases, and a simple stem contains no postbases. So, for example, akbat, to run, that is a simple stem. Ilisak, to study, is also a simple stem. A complex stem is when you add on a postbase to your stem. So, for example, akpanak, will run. Ilisalatu, to like to study. Ilisalatunak, will like to study. In either a verb or noun case, an ending may be directly added to the stem word. So if you look at the examples, in black are the base words, in green are the postbases, and in red are the endings. Akpatuk, he will run. Akpanaktuk, she will run. Ilisakbin, did you study? Ilisalatuvit, do you like to study? Ilisalatunyakdudin, you will enjoy studying. So you can see that the verb stem and a ending are put together. And Inupiaq postbase serves somewhat the same functions that adverbs, adjectives, prefixes, and suffixes do in English. For example, Ika umak, there is a boat. Ika umakbak, there is a big boat. Mayuktuk, it is climbing. Mayungitchuk, it is not climbing. Past and future time of an Inupiaq verb are also indicated by postbases. For example, niliruk, he is eating. Nirinaktuk, he will eat. Niriyumaktuk, he is planning to eat. Enclitics. An Inupiaq ending may be followed by an enclitic. An enclitic gives further information about the situation or thing described by the verb, noun, or demonstrative. It may indicate that the speaker is reporting something that others said or did. It may be used to indicate an attitude of hope or wish, wonder, questioning, or emphasis on the part of the speaker. It may indicate change of subject. So, for example, aganagali sunakba, highlighted in red, is the enclitic. As for the woman, what will she do? Aganak angunlu isikdoak, the woman and a man entered. And another way to say that same sentence is aganak angutilu isikdoak, kamunlu tingunlu, the car and the airplane. And another way to say that same sentence is kamutilu tingutilu, the car and the airplane. Demonstrative stem words. Beside noun and verb stems, there are demonstrative stems. In Inupiaq, demonstratives give information about a person, an animal, a thing, or an area, referring to its position in respect to the speaker and listener. For example, uva, here. So when we use this one, it's like in this area, which is close to the speaker, but not necessarily to the listener. So for example, if I'm passing something to somebody, uva, here. Ika, there. In the area which is not near either the speaker or the listener. So for example, if I point to something on the other side of the room, Ika, over there. Tamna, that one, which is closer to the speaker, to the listener, than it is to the speaker. So for example, if I am talking to somebody in the room and I say Tamna, that one that is close to the listener and not necessarily closer to me. Singular, dual, and plural nouns. In Inipaq, the ending of the nouns indicate how many. When a noun ends in a Q, that means it is singular. When a noun ends in a K, that means it is dual, two of something. When a noun ends in a T, it is plural, for three or more something. For example, qimmiq is one dog, it ends in a Q. Qimmik, two dogs, it ends in a K. Qimmit, three or more dogs, it ends in a T. Regular Q and capital Q. When adding the division sign plus, mun together, or the division sign mi, you drop the final consonant from a stem word that end with a regular Q. The division sign indicates that the postbase deletes stem final weak Q, but not capital Q, K, or N. So for example, aghnaq. When you want to add aghnaq plus mun, we will drop the final consonant Q and it will be aghnamun. Qimmiq plus mun. We drop the final consonant Q in qimmiq and it changes to qimmimun. Umaq plus mi. We drop the final consonant Q, they're all weak Qs, and it changes to umami. However, when you have a capital Q with those same endings, you will apply assimilation. Remember, assimilation is a sound change. Assimilation makes the change sound more natural and flowy. Q will assimilate to a G with a dot. So for example, tubiq has a capital Q. When you want to add tubiq with the capital Q plus mun, that specific mun with the division sign, that division sign will tell you you have to assimilate that Q. So it would be tupirmun. Natiq with the capital Q plus mi. We assimilate the Q to a G with a dot and it changes to natirmi, on the floor. Remember that the division sign indicates that the postbase deletes the stem final weak Q, but not capital Q, K, or N. So with words that end in a K, we will apply assimilation and K will assimilate to a G. For example, utqervik, barrow, plus mun. Utqervig mun, to barrow. Storkbuk, big store, plus mun. Storkbar mun, to the big store. In Inibaq, we have questions that refer to whether it is a person or an animal or object. When referring to a person, we would say, Kinauna, who is that one? Kinya literally translates to who, and una literally translates to that one, who is that one. When talking about an animal or an object, we will use the word sunauna. What is this one? What is that? Su means what, suna means like what one thing, and una literally means that one. So sunauna, what is that one? The English pronouns he, she, and it are said to show the gender, sex of a person or thing they refer to, since he is exclusively masculine, she is feminine, and it is neither. However, Inipaq pronouns do not make this distinction. Thus, niliruk means she, he, or it is eating. It does not matter if it's a male, female, or an animal. We say niliruk, he, she, or it is eating. Nouns and pronouns in Inipaq can stand as complete utterances without a verb. Sunna unna, what is this? Qimmiq, a dog. So you can use your noun, like qimmiq, person, place, or thing, as a standalone. you can just say qimmiq, a dog. Usually, they act as a subject or object of a verb. For example, angon neghayruq, the man is eating. You can see that angon is standing alone. Angon neghayruq, the man is eating. Verbs. A verb stem or base word. Remember, you can say a verb stem is the same thing as a base word. They're the same thing. So a verb stem or base word is not a complete sentence. For example, you cannot say savak, to work. You will notice that when you see that the dash sign right after the verb, that means you have to add something after that, whether it's a postbase and an ending or just an ending, to make it a complete sentence. So for example, savak plus tuk, to make savak tuk. He, she, or it is working. Some words are both a noun and a verb. So a word with the sign that is a parentheses dash parentheses, this means that that specific word is both a noun and a verb. So for example, the word atigi, and it has that sign, parentheses dash parentheses. So this means that it is a noun and a verb. So atigi can be a standalone word because it means it is a parka, that is a noun. You can use it as a complete sentence, atigi. But you can also use it to say he is putting on a parka, she is putting on a parka, and that is a verb, to be doing something. More about verbs. When the number of the subject or object is 1, 2, or more, the letters S, D, and P respectively will be written after the abbreviations 1 for first person, 2 for second person, and 3 for third person. S means singular, D means dual, and P means plural. So 1S is first person singular, and that means I. 1D means first person dual, and that means we two. 1P means first person plural, which means we, 3 or more. 2S means second person singular, which means you. 2D means second person dual, which means you two. 2P means second person plural, which means you, 3 or more. 3S means third person singular, which means he, she, or it. 3D means third person dual for they, two. And lastly, 3P means third person plural for they, 3 or more. Postbases. Single inipak words often become very long as a result of multiple postbases. Sometimes you will see inipak words that are very long, and that is the result of multiple postbases. In theory, there is no limit to the number of postbases that might be added to a stem, but in practice, speakers seldom expand words beyond 5 postbases, plus an ending. Postbases. As postbases are presented, the following abbreviations will be used to tell whether the postbase is attached to noun or verb stems. So a noun stem is like a noun word. A verb stem is a verb word. So let's look at the examples to the right. So when you have a postbase -NN, that means that the first N means that you have to attach that specific postbase to a noun word. And after you attach that postbase to that noun word, the result will still be a noun. So a noun to a noun. The NV means noun to verb. The first N means that you have to use a noun with that postbase, and the result with adding that postbase will be a verb. The next one, VV, is verb to verb. You have to use that specific postbase with a verb word, and the result will be a verb. And the last one, VN, verb to noun. With that specific postbase, you have to use a verb stem word, and the result will be a noun. More on postbases. One example of a postbase is kak, which means to have. You will notice that it has attached in red is the NV, and that means with that specific postbase, you have to use a noun base word. So to have a noun, like what an example would be kalun, that's a thing, a cup. So we would attach kalun plus that postbase kak and we would apply assimilation to that N, because you'll have to make that assimilation change. So N will turn to a TI, and we will say kalutikak. You won't say kalunkak, you'll say kalutikak. And with the ending he, she, or it, you'll add tuk. So kalutikakduk. He has a cup. Kalutikakdunga. I have a cup. The next postbase is karnak, which also has a NV attached to it. So with the same one, you have to apply a noun stem word, and the result will be a verb to will have something that will make it a verb. So this one, karnak, means will have. So both are NV, like I mentioned, which means that you'll have to attach that specific postbase to a noun, and the result after adding the postbase will be a verb. So let's look at the second example. Kamun, car. Again, the N will turn to a TI, so we will say kamuti, not kamun. Kamuti karnak duk. He will have a car. Kamuti karnak dunga. I will have a car. More about postbases. So the minus sign in front of the postbase kak, highlighted in red, tells us that the consonant of the stem word must be deleted. There is no number specified in the stem or the postbase. One cannot tell how many things are named by the noun stem there are. So for example, let's look at kamik, which means boot. We have to delete the final, that dash in front of kak means we have to take off that final consonant in the base word. So we'll take off K in kamik, and the result will be kamikak. You can't say kamikak. You can feel that there's like it's choppy, but when you take off that consonant, kamikak, it becomes more flowy. So kamikak dunga, I have boots on, and like mentioned, it doesn't tell you how many. It could be 1 boot, 2 boots. You could also say I have boots. There's different definitions to the same sentence. They could mean multiple things. Umak, boat. Kak, to have. Like the one before, we drop off that final consonant. So we drop off the Q, and it results in umerkak. Umerkakduk. He has a boat. He has 1 boat. He has 2 boats. He has 3 boats. There is a boat. So there's different definitions. Igloo, house. Kak, to have. Because igloo ends in a vowel, you will automatically just add kak. So igloo kak. Igloo kak bisi. Do you 3 or more people own a house? Do you 3 or people own houses? It doesn't tell you how many. Inuk, person. Kak. Inyukak. Inyukakba. Does she have a visitor? Does it have an owner? Are there any people? Many different definitions to the same question. The stem word su. The stem word su is both a noun and a verb. So the reason why you know that it is both a noun and a verb is because of that parentheses dash parentheses sign. So the stem su is both a noun stem, what, and a verb stem, to do what. It is usually interrogative. It's usually a question. Here are some examples of su as a noun stem. Su kakba. What does he have? What does she have? What does it have? Savikakduk. He has a knife. It has a knife. She has a knife. Su means what. Kak means to have. And the ending pa is an interrogative for she, he, or it. Savik is a knife. Kak means to have. Tuk is he, she, or it. Here are some examples of su as a verb stem. Suva, what is she doing? Suvak, what are those 2 doing? Suvat, what are those 3 or more doing? Suvin, what are you doing? Kukiuruk, she is cooking. So here's chapter 3 exercise using the postbase kak, to have. Kamik. Kamikakduk. We will drop that final consonant in the base word kamik, and it will result in kamikakduk. He has boots. He has 1 boot. Mechlekduk. we will drop the final consonant Q and add kak, and the result will be michlek duk. Those two have a child, or those two have children. Akin, akasi. Since akasi ends in a vowel, we'll automatically add kak. Akasi kakdut. Those three or more have one pillow. Those three or more have many pillows. Igloo, house. Again, this one ends in a vowel, so we will automatically add kak. Igloo kakduk. She has a house. Tavsi. Tavsi kakbak. Do those two have a belt? Do those two have belts? Kayak. We will drop the final consonant Q, and the result will be kayakakdut. They three or more have a kayak, or they have many kayaks.